right. We are here. We are back with the How I Met Your Mother Tip to Tip podcast episodes. All right, season one episodes. What are we, 10 and 11 here?
9 and 10.
9 and 10. Not that's because
9 and
that's
10.
last week. That makes sense. So we're doing two episodes. We skipped Thursday because, or yeah, third Wednesday. When do we podcast Wednesdays? Yeah, we skipped Wednesday because well,
Life.
the first this episode kind of sucks. Belly full of turkey. It wasn't really enough to justify a whole podcast on it. And by the time we decided that, we hadn't watched the other one yet. In podcast form, we've probably both seen it 672 times. It's actually
Truth.
one of my favorites.
Truth.
Um, so I'm just gonna do the recap. I'm gonna read the whole thing, then we can comment on it, then we'll move on to the good episode.
Sounds like playing to
that's
me.
that's I think that's how we're gonna do it. On Thanksgiving Day 2005, Lily and Marshall go to Marshall's home in St. Cloud, Minnesota, which Marshall is very excited about. As he hasn't been home since last Christmas, Ted, Robin, and Barney stay in New York. As soon as Lily and Marshall arrive, Lily realizes that she is different from everybody in Marshall's family. Marshall, who is already very tall, standing 6'4", is considered the runt of the Erickson family. 6'4" is very fucking tall to be the runt, just so we're clear.
Yeah. Yeah.
Later, she finds that everything in the family is huge, including salads, bowls, and spoons
And mayonnaise.
and mayonnaise. Mrs. Erickson tells Lily that Marcus was 15 pounds when he was born, which frightens Lily because she fears she may be pregnant with a similarly giant Erickson baby. At the dinner table, Lily insists that she will keep her name after marriage, which makes sense. She's a teacher. It could get confusing.
hmm
And did you ever have a teacher that switched their name while you were in school?
I did not know, but like most of my teachers were old and nuns.
Oh,
Oh, I can't hear you.
there we go.
Oh, there
Woo!
we back.
They weren't getting their cobwebs dusted out.
I mean, my third grade teacher was 100 years old.
Literally.
I don't know, but
She
she
was
looked it.
probably fucking our age.
No, she was not. She was definitely not our
All
age.
right. I think I had one teacher that switched her, got married, but she didn't switch her name
Mm.
for this exact reason,
Well,
which
that
makes
makes sense.
sense.
Yeah.
Um, so uh, at the dinner table, Lily insists that he keeps her name and they'll raise their children in New York, much to the disapproval of the Ericksons. This leads to an argument between Lily and Marshall, after which she runs out of the house. Lily buys a pregnancy test in a convenience store and later got arrested for public urination. Marshall finds her in jail and asks her what is going on with her. A distraught Lily begs Marshall to promise her that they won't move to St. Cloud. When Lily's personal effects are brought to her, pardon, Marshall learns that she took a pregnancy test. Marshall himself then begins to panic and declares that their children cannot be allowed to play basketball. They soon find out that Lily is in fact not pregnant, much to their relief. Phew. By the way, the episodes before this, I don't know if you noticed, but Marshall said that they're not very safe when they have sex when he was talking to Ted. And
Oh,
Lily said
yeah.
something of the same nature to Robin, I believe.
He did say that. I forgot about
Yeah.
that.
So back in New York, Ted and Robin go to a kitchen to do charity work for the homeless, where they find dun, 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 Barney. They're shocked to see him and can't believe that Barney would possibly want to help others. Though Kendall, his boss, claims that he comes every Sunday. While Barney was playing a busy and essential role in the kitchen, volunteer of the month, if you will, having been named, volunteer of the year, I'm sorry, volunteer of the year, Ted and Robin don't have much to contribute as the kitchen is packed with volunteers on Thanksgiving. This part was funny to me because they're like, well, can't we help? And the guy's like, we're overstaffed. And he's like, overstaffed with volunteers?
Yeah, Ted's like, how can you ever have too much unpaid help? And he's
Yeah.
like, well, I mean, it's the biggest volunteer day of the year, so get out of the way.
Which is so true because as humans, we're like, all right, Christmas, Thanksgiving, like the big holidays, we want to suddenly help people.
Yeah,
It's like they don't need it the rest of the year.
right, exactly.
Um, Ted and Robin don't have much to contribute as the kitchen is packed with volunteers on Thanksgiving. They finally end up helping a woman named Amanda, but learn that she is actually taking the best donated items home for herself. When Ted tells Kendall about this, Kendall reveals that he also takes the best items home as well. Ted steals the portobello mushrooms and gives them to the homeless people, which causes himself, Barney, and Robin to be fired from a non paid job. from the kitchen. To make it up to Barney, they end up at the Lusty Leopard, a strip club, much to Ted's chagrin. Ted meets a stripper named Stacy, or Tracy, and he jokingly tells his kids that that is how I met your mother. So the few big things here is one, we meet Marshall's family, which comes into play through the whole series. I th-
Yeah.
I would have to say I think that Marshall's family is the most prominent family for majority of the series. I think.
Yeah, I would agree with that. We get a few episodes a season, I think, of Ted's mom, and
Yeah,
sometimes we only get Ted's dad a handful of
handful of
times.
times. And it's funny
And then we get
because
Clint.
I wonder if that's because um Ted's telling the story to his kids, so his kids obviously know his parents.
That's fair. Yeah, I
Yeah, I
never
wonder if
really
that's
considered
why.
it that way, but that's a good point.
Because we do hear about everybody else's parents.
Yeah, and
But I would
like
have to say the Ericksons are like the mom and dad of the entire group. They're like your parents, like the mom and dad of the entire group,
yeah,
I
yeah,
feel like.
kind of, because like
And
we don't get a whole lot of Lily's mom and dad until like in the later seasons.
yeah, and I think minus being divorced, Lily's mom and dad are more like my mom and dad. Like they're cool, they're gonna kick it, they're gonna, but nobody's like really getting like inherently like, your dad could tell you to shut the fuck up and then give you a lecture about why you need to shut the fuck up and how it's better for your whole life.
Yeah.
And my dad would just be like, dude, you talk too much. Like, there's just, like, I just can't. You
Dude, you
need to go
talked to
away. um, so the Ericksons debut, the debut of Lusty Leopard, uh, and then there's one other debut I can't think of. Hmm. I don't know. There's one other one. I think that was important, but I don't. Oh, we find out that Robin's from Canada.
Yes, we do find out that Robin's from Canada in this episode. Very casually, she's like, I celebrated Thanksgiving a month ago.
Yep, and they all.
That's
This is,
about it.
starts the making fun of Robin from being from Canada thing. And
Yep.
like she listed out a whole thing, all these things wrong with our country. And Ted's like, "Yeah, you play hockey or whatever he said, just something
He
like, oh no, he
the
said your police dress weird."
the only rebut he had was, your cops are called
Yeah, it
Mounties.
was funny.
Yeah.
So, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what. It's always America's better, no matter what Robin says.
Yep. Yep. We also find out in this episode that Barney has a reoccurring theme of public urination, and that's why
Yes,
he's at the soup kitchen in the first place, which
which
I don't remember occurring in season one. It was actually kind of like jarring for me. I'm like, wow, we find out about this soon because this happens all the time
yeah,
throughout the series.
we also have a friend who had the exact scenario Barney had. I'm not going to name him because he would be very upset, but you'll be able to figure it out because he's also 6'4". He
Hmm.
got in trouble on Halloween for urinating on a courthouse and didn't realize it was a courthouse and got arrested.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Tim urinated on a Walgreens on St. Patrick's Day
Oh,
in
nice.
2013.
It's
Didn't get in trouble because he could run fast.
it's actually more shocking to me that I haven't been arrested for public urination because I would just
Facts.
drop my pants and piss anywhere.
Facts.
Which also is a weird thing because through majority of my adult life now I've lived by schools.
That's super true.
Right. So,
Super true.
God bless. Somebody was looking out for me. Um, so yeah, this episode was a lot of fluff, really. I think for things happening in the future. The
Yeah,
what
it definitely sets the tone for Marshall and Lily and maybe like how they're going to interact with like problems and fights in the future.
I
Um,
also it shows for the first time that Marshall and Lily aren't perfect. I feel like
yes.
there is a
Yes.
flaw in the so I think they want everybody to think they're perfect and
As,
everything is copacetic, but it
as
quickly
most like
most people do. Even
yeah,
not in a relationship. You don't go on
especially when
Facebook and
you're
you're
like
like, my life shit. I mean,
especially when you're like the role model couple of the
yeah,
friend group.
yeah. And I think this showed us a side of Lily that's like, I don't want this part of Marshall. Like, this
Yeah.
is not a part I necessarily love about Marshall. It's
Yeah.
not. It's not the best thing about him. Which is true. I mean, our families are a huge extension of who we are.
Yes.
And
Very much so.
you date somebody, you date their family. There's just no way around it,
Yeah.
as you
Yeah.
know.
Yes,
So,
I know it quite well. I am very much Lily in this episode, or at least was for many years of my life. You grow to form a tolerance around.
yeah, I think it's like anything. You take what you like and leave the rest. Is
Yes,
kind of what you got to do with your significant other's family.
yes,
I also would like, since I'm kind of the guy, the lusty leopard. For the longest time, I was the lusty leopard guy.
yes, you
It was
were.
all about the strip club. Um, and there was a missed opportunity in this episode. Ted really wanted to do something good for somebody, so he got that lap dance. But instead of Tracy, it should have been charity. That way, Ted was donating to charity.
Oh,
It
that
was a
would have been
lost
so
joke, and I was
good.
really bummed about it because
That
I
would have
use
been
it
so,
often.
that would have been so good.
Yeah, big
Missed
bummed out
opportunity
joke.
for sure.
We're gonna clip that. Um, yeah, but I think it was also a good Robin and Ted meeting Barney halfway.
Yeah, yeah.
That was nice. And Barney brought in a homeless guy into the strip club. And Ted's like, "Well, let me buy you a meal." Like he's like, "No, I want a lap dance. I've eaten plenty today."
I almost had I had the thought that like Barney stole the homeless guy from the soup kitchen as they
Yeah,
were getting fired from their volunteer job. He's like, "You're coming with
he ate
me."
all the portobello mushrooms, so he was good. So yeah,
Yes.
that's really all that episode had for me. It was not nothing special about it. It was
Yeah, it was
very
just it was meeting the in-laws and the conflicts
yeah.
that come with meeting the in-laws.
I am noticing this in this first season. We'll get like two or three good episodes, and then a filler episode to introduce us into things that are
Mhm.
happening.
Yeah, agreed.
Um,
And I think that circles back to the point I made earlier in the week. They didn't know what was going to work or not work until they tried
right,
it.
agreed. And you had to. I can't say the things we found out in this episode, although mean nothing now, down the road mean everything to the whole series.
Oh,
I mean, the
100%.
strip club is an
100%.
extension of Barney.
Yeah,
Robin being Canadian is huge, and the Ericksons are a huge part of the group.
quite literally huge.
Yeah, quite literally 6'4". How tall were his brothers? And then I'm looking at them all, and I'm like, also, here's my other theory. I don't think anything was really that big. It was Lily being in her own
Lily
head.
was just that small.
Yeah, and everything just
Yeah.
got bigger and bigger because she was in such an anxious state of mind.
Yeah.
So it just
I
got
do
bigger and bigger.
I do love the line where they're all sitting at the table and she goes, "We grew to the proper height and then we stopped." And then they pan over to
They bring out like that
Marcus.
7-year-old kid, and he was just 3 months old.
Yep. They pan over to Marcus who's just like staring down at her like,
Yeah,
was that a dig?
and they all hug in the beginning, and Lily's just lost in the little circle.
Yeah, and Marvin is like, "Where's my future daughter-in-law?" And she's like,
Yeah,
"Here I am.
yeah,
I'm over here."
it's like a little kid being around a bunch of adults is what it's
Yes.
like.
Yes, exactly. Exactly.
So that's all I got for that episode. I give it a French horn, just one.
That's pretty much all I have too. I do
Yeah.
love the one line where they walk into the soup kitchen and they see Barney there for the first time. And Ted goes, "What are you doing?" And Barney goes,
Oh,
"The Lord's work." And Ted goes, "But you're Satan."
so that interaction does remind me of like me and you when you'd see me do something. When we were younger, you would see me do something and you'd be like, "Wait, why are you doing that? What's
Yep.
the cat? What's the?
Yep.
Where is the? Grant doesn't just do that,
Who made you do this?
right?
What are you getting out
Right.
of this?
Exactly. And that made me think of that. And then we find
Right.
out Barney's on court papers, and that's why he's doing it.
Yep.
Um, and he was like, I didn't know it was the judge's house or whatever the fuck it was. Which is so true. You used to be able to just pee wherever when you were drinking, like
I think it was a church.
church. That's what it was. The
I think it
judge's
was literally.
church. I think
Ah, yes.
that's what it
Hmm.
was. Um, Fun story about the Valley. It's a local group of bars by us. So I met this girl and I was having like a total Ted moment with her. We pre-gamed at my friend's house. She was a friend of my friend. She had just become single. We hit it off immediately. We're on the dance floor. We were kissing. I had to go to the bathroom. The lines wrapped around. And much like the episode where they were in the club and stuff, You just want to get through, like get. So I skipped the line and peed in a trash can, which was in the front of. I was in the bathroom, but the trash can was there.
In
I
like the
watched.
atrium of the
Yeah, I
bathroom.
watched three guys do it before me. Soon as I stop peeing and do the little shake, the guy's like, "You're out." And he kicked me out. I haven't talked to that girl since that night. I snuck back in
Damn.
twice and got kicked out both those times too. And finally, the guy said, "Dude, you got to stop sneaking in. I'm never
Oh
gonna
my
not
God.
kick you out."
Much
So
like Ted in the next episode.
yeah, so that reminded me of yes, much like that. So let's roll into that episode because
Let's do it.
that episode was is one of my favorite How I Met Your Mother episodes. It is the pineapple incident. So this episode is one of my favorites, but not only one of my favorites. Behind two other episodes, this is the most watched episode of How I Met Your Mother.
Really?
Yep.
I did not know
Behind
that.
Last Forever Part 1 and Part 2, this is the highest rated episode of the series.
I mean, that makes sense though, because everybody wants to know where the
Where's
pineapple
where's
fucking
the
came from.
pineapple? So you want me to just run through the recap again and then we'll just how is this recap shorter than the other one? Jesus Christ. Yeah, I'll just read a paragraph and then we'll comment on the paragraph, then I'll keep going.
Yeah.
In this episode, Barney, Marshall, and Lily criticize Ted for overthinking that he's about to do what he's about to do rather than acting by the seat of his pants. They convince Ted to take 5 shots of a drink called Red Dragon, a special blend by Carl, the bartender, who gets a huge part in this.
Yeah.
By Carl that resembles blood, causing Ted to state Marshall's theory that Carl is a vampire. Ted claims that he can still. This is the me and your husbands. This is us. Ted claims that he can still function cognitively even under the influence of alcohol. But shortly afterwards, he blacks out. He wakes up the next morning with a brunette girl he doesn't remember beside him in bed, a pineapple on his nightstand, and a sprained ankle. He also finds out that his coat has been partially burnt. Ted asks Marshall and Lily about the night, and Marshall and Lily tell him that he sang along with the jukebox in the bar while standing on a table. He also was talking on the phone with Robin while he was singing. He fell off the table, which explains the sprained ankle. And Marshall and Lily took him to his bed. However, do they not? They do not know why there's a girl in the bed and why there's a pineapple on Ted's nightstand. And the reason his coat was burned. Ted calls Barney, thinking he might know how that happened. So there's a lot to unpack there.
There's so much.
So first of all, this is prime Grant to a T, is what Ted is
Yes.
doing. From the sprained ankle on is prime Grant.
Pretty
Uh,
much, yeah.
um, so Ted's like, my brain doesn't even get affected by alcohol. Blah, blah, blah. And then like 3 shots in, he's slurring his words.
hmm
um, and then Marshall thinking Carl's a vampire is just fantastic.
Oh, it's
Um,
so good.
and it
I also
much
love that we get Carl as a character in this
yes, he comes
episode.
in and which we've been talking about from the beginning, how in our lives the bartenders and servers and people have become characters throughout our events of living.
Oh,
And
most
this is
definitely.
much like um bartenders we'd have that would in that night, and we've said before, come a part of the group
hmm
because we had some wild theory about how Rachel was gangbanging 6 guys, and then somebody would eventually be like, hey Rachel, do you know what so and so thinks about you? And they would come in and be a part of the story. I did
Yep.
make that up. I don't. We didn't know her. Well, we might have known her Rachel. I don't remember all our bartenders' names, but we always had some kind of theory. Or like when I was talking to the one girl, Tim had this whole story how she was the Amish girl, and she was from Amish country,
Oh
and
my
he had a
God.
whole like. But that
Oh
was like a
God.
normal in our group. It was just somebody who flowed in,
Yeah.
and we had this whole elaborate background story for.
I mean,
Um,
we needed it. We had
yeah,
to make it.
yeah, it was
It's
great, and it gave us
our
all
own
something to
source of
laugh about.
entertainment.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Um, so there's that, and then um, man, there's just so much in one paragraph. Ted calling Robin is a very Grant move.
hmm
I'm not even gonna think about her. I don't give a shit about her tonight. F her. I miss you so much.
Which, mind you, Robin's on a very serious date with a
yes, a
billionaire.
billionaire.
well, technically 100 millionaire,
We
but
round up.
she's at like a charity event. So she's
$2,000,
been,
2000, whoop, whoop, am I, whoop, whoop, there we go. $2,000 a table.
yes,
Round it
yeah,
up.
yeah.
Round it up. I don't know why we always round up. That was great. I'm like, everybody does round up. That's fantastic. Yeah, so she's on a real, like, this is probably Robin's first serious date.
hmm
But again, oh wait, we skipped something in the last episode, but this will tie into it. So I'll just, again, Robin in the Thanksgiving episode was trying to hook Ted up with somebody.
hmm
And in this episode, while on a serious date, is still picking up Ted's phone calls.
Right, right.
Still picking up the phone
It's
calls.
so contradictory because like
Yep,
you see her wanting Ted to move on and then she still caters to Ted's
Ted.
antics.
Yep.
Yeah.
And enjoys it. She
Oh,
didn't have to pick up
she
once,
most definitely
twice,
did.
6 times. She didn't have to do that.
Yeah, because like she also knows that like Ted is out at the bar with the rest of the gang. Like she
Yeah,
knows that Ted's not in trouble, like nothing serious is going on. Like she didn't need to answer the phone, but she does it anyway.
right.
Yeah.
So, I think that's everything there. Marshall finding Carl, I just find that fantastic. So then, this was very much us three. I felt like when Marshall and Lily put Ted to bed and
hmm
said, "Good night, buddy," and he's like, "Oh, what would I do without you guys?
You
Like,
guys are the
you guys are
best.
great." Um, that was fantastic to me.
Yeah. And then very much in true Ted Grant fashion, Ted sneaks out.
Can you fix your mic a little bit? I can't hear you
Oh no.
unless it's my end. I hear it. Can you hear me?
I can
Can
hear
you hear
you.
me? Okay. Yeah, I think it's your end. Oh wait, there we
Okay.
go. Talk now.
Can you hear me now?
Yep, I can hear you. My bad.
We're the old
Yep.
Verizon commercial. Can you hear me now?
I just gotta stop touching this microphone. I just like it. Um, so yeah, it was very much a you and Tim thing to put me to bed, or pull the salad with barbecue sauce or with hot sauce off of my lap, or
And
take me home from
pickles.
scoreboards and make sure I got in okay.
Yep. Which we did. We always made sure you got
Yep.
into the house okay.
Drive me to get my phone the next day wherever I left it.
My God, so many. Not even just phone, but wallet,
Wallet, whatever.
ID.
Car, because I couldn't drive home.
Yep.
Um, but again, a good sign of how close they are as friends.
hmm
So then Ted wakes up, evidently, and more mischievous things happen, and somehow he acquired a girl and a pineapple. Um, and Lily is concerned about who the girl is and if she's alive, which is such a fair question.
I
And,
mean, it really is.
and Ted's
Yeah.
kind of like, oh, I hope
I think
so. Like,
so.
I mean, maybe. And then, but Marshall doesn't give a shit about the girl. He wants to know where this pineapple came from.
So
Where is the
fixated.
pineapple from?
So fixated on the
Um,
pineapple.
so then the next paragraph is so they call Barney, and before I get to the next paragraph, Ted calls Barney thinking he might know what had happened. Barney's phone starts ringing in the apartment. He's in the bathtub because the bathtub will not wrinkle his suit.
hmm
So after finding Barney in the tub, Ted asks him about the night. It's revealed that after Lily and Marshall put Ted to bed, he got back up again and returned to the bar. And I think,
Which kudos to Ted for
rally.
climbing down a fire escape that drunk.
Right. And then also, before this, Barney hit on a group of girls, and
hmm
Ted's like, "What are you going to say to him? You're just going to walk over and what are you going to say?" And he goes, Barney's like, "That's your problem. You're thinking I'm going to walk over and say, 'Daddy's home,'" and that's the debut of that. So when Ted walks back into the bar, he says, "Daddy's home," but it's more like "Daddy's home." Um. So Lily, he got back up again and returned to the bar. Barney also tells Ted that he lit his jacket on fire because Ted called Robin. So this was a very any of our friends I felt like would do this.
Oh my God,
When
yes.
we were saying don't do something, we would threaten somebody and they'd be like, "You wouldn't do that." And I like to think it's more of a me thing. They'd be like, "Don't do that," or "Don't," and then I'd like drop your phone in your beer, or do
I
something
feel
where I'm
like
like,
I did that a lot
"You did
too.
too." Yes,
hmm
100%. We were very much, if we said we're going to do it, we're doing it because
Yep.
we're that serious about the situation.
Don't tempt me with a good time. If
Yeah,
I tell you I'm gonna do something, I'm gonna do it.
I can specifically remember saying that to Nick and Gay Dan a lot. Like, don't think I won't do it.
Yeah.
Um, so I never had to do it to Tim because he always knew I would do it. So
Oh,
he would just
I did it
usually,
to Tim all the time,
yeah,
and Tim very mistakenly
he would
underestimated
usually
his life.
stop whatever it was because he knew I would go. He knew me long enough to know I would go to that next level.
Yeah, yeah, agreed. Tim underestimated me quite a bit sometimes,
Yeah,
especially in the early years.
yeah, and I think he's like, you're my girlfriend, you won't do it. And you were like, the fuck, I won't.
Joke's on you.
Yeah, sorry about that, buddy boy.
You don't get a free pass just because I'm sleeping with you.
Right. So, but
Just
ew.
saying.
So gross. Sex. Barney tells Ted that he lit his jacket on fire because Ted called Robin. Barney then tells Ted that after some more fun, he put Ted back into bed. Ted finds that someone wrote on his arm, saying to call the number if Ted was found passed out somewhere. Ted calls the number and finds out it belongs to the bartender, Carl. Carl tells Ted that he once again returned to the bar after Barney had put him to bed, and he said the same thing to Barney. You're such a good friend. I don't know what I'd do without you.
I think
Um,
he even said like, "You shall take my finest stallion."
yes,
Like turned into like medieval Ted, which again,
yes,
reoccurring theme through the whole series. We know Ted's a Renaissance man,
right.
but
It's
like
fantastic.
offers Barney his finest horse.
So Carl tells Ted that he once again returned to the bar after Barney had put him to bed. Carl also informs him that he went to the bathroom to vomit, ending Ted's vomit-free since '93 streak.
Which
And
is
then
still
told
so
him the
impressive.
meaning of the word karaoke, and then he wanted to go see some penguins at the zoo. But he had to make one more call first. Based on this information, Marshall, Lily, and Barney believe that the girl in Ted's bed is Robin. But as Ted goes to wake her, Robin calls his phone. Lot of house phone here.
I
Lot of
love when I love when Robin calls Ted and she goes, "Ted, it's Robin." And he
He's
goes,
like, are you
"Are you
sure?
sure?"
He's like, are you sure you're you? Um, so then the girl in the bed walks out. The girl in the bed, Trudy, wakes up and explains her side of the story, telling Ted that he did not vomit after all. Woohoo! Vomit free since '93. High fives, Marshall. Everybody's Trudy's looking at him like, what the
Who did I just sleep with?
right? Like, oh god, I gotta go clean myself. So, and that they exchanged numbers. That he exchanged numbers with him in the ladies' room of the bar. It's revealed that the person that Ted had drunkenly called was not Robin, as he intended. It was Trudy, which explains why she was the one in his bed.
hmm
It is alluded here, just so we're clear, that they had sex because Marshall said when they thought it was Robin, Marshall said, "Well, did you?" And Ted's like yeah.
Yeah.
So there was intercourse here. Um,
Thanks for that.
yeah, I just want that's like when a man loves a woman. Clip it. So uh Trudy, so then Trudy explains why she was in the bed. Ted tells Trudy that, oh, so, yeah, so that's how he met Trudy, blah, 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 whatever. Trudy is from something famous, but I can't remember what. I think Wonder Years, I believe.
I have no idea.
I believe. Do, 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 do.
The Wonder Years, like the band.
No, but you're too young. Yep,
Oh,
Danica McKellar, Wonder Years.
oh,
You probably know her from Impractical Jokers. She
nope.
was in Murr's Punishment because it was his childhood crush and he had to oil up and then have dinner with
Oh
her.
my God,
Yep.
yeah. I do remember that now.
So, Ted tells Trudy to hide when Robin comes over to talk, and Trudy leaves via the fire escape before Ted can show her to Robin to prove that he has moved on. In the end, Ted eventually pieces his knife together, except where did the pineapple come from? So, again, back to Robin. Even in this conversation with Ted, where she's like, you gotta stop, we're just friends, blah, 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 she's like, I don't know what this is.
hmm
Why? Why? Why would she say that?
I don't know. I really it's very frustrating,
Because if it was nothing, she would just say, Ted, we're nothing. We're never going to be anything. Stop.
especially with the episodes to come. Like the next two are
Yeah,
like night and day switch as far as where Robin's brain's at.
I'm telling you.
So,
In this podcast, I am in a anti-Robin campaign.
yeah,
Because
yeah.
the more I watch this, the more I think Robin was the problem.
It's very apparent.
And
Yeah.
she gaslit the living shit out of my boy Ted.
She kind of did, though. She gave Ted so much false hope for years.
And I feel like the group never, well, Marshall eventually did, but the rest of the group never said anything because they were all friends.
Hmm.
So they also didn't want to lose Robin.
Yeah.
Which also plays into Marshall and Robin never being that close. And I think that's because Marshall knew
That's a good point.
inevitably Robin was going to hurt Ted.
That's a good point.
Um, so yeah, this episode was just fantastic. There is another episode similar to this that I love. Um, when Ted goes on his bender and he gets a tattoo. Um,
Ah, yes.
but
That was
this
another
episode is
fantastic
just
episode.
so good. It's the first time, according to my website, fandom.com wiki, How I Met Your Mother. First time Barney uses the pickup line, "Daddy's home."
It is the first time.
Lily jokingly insults Barney. I forget what she said to him, but she insulted him about something and raised her hand for the high five like he does. And in response, Barney shakes his head like Lily does to him whenever he asks
Hmm.
for a high five.
Yep. It's a nice little subtle role reverse.
Yes, and then there's the nod to Marshall's matchmaker where he's believes in all kinds of supernatural stuff that Carl is a vampire.
Yep.
Um,
Yep.
and then he's like, the best is when God, I actually laughed at work out loud. Marshall's like, garlic, it's not on the menu. And somebody's like, I think it was Lily's like, garlic fries? She's like, I'll get back to you.
Yep.
That's fantastic.
It's so good. It's so
Um,
good.
so yeah, this episode was fantastic to me. And
It definitely holds up because we've all had those nights where like you get too plastered,
and
you
you do
wake
it to
up the
shut
next
your brain
morning.
off.
Yeah,
Like that's how it is intended.
and then you have to wake up the next morning and puzzle piece everything together. I mean, we've
Yeah,
had countless nights like that.
100%.
Like, what
And
the fuck
countless
went
nights
down?
where we've been like, you know what, Grant? You know what, Tim? You know what, Linda? You know what, Nick? You know what, whoever? Shut up. Just start drinking and let it go. Let
And
it.
we also see Lily for the first time not play like the mom card, and
Yes,
she goes, drink,
yes,
drink,
because
drink.
Ted was like, Lily, tell him this isn't a good idea. And she's
Hmm.
like, normally in these circumstances, drink, drink, drink. So
Yep.
it's cool to remember that these adults that we're watching are actually just kids.
Yeah,
They're
they're
just
still
kids.
kids. They're still kids. We were
Um,
still kids at 27. It was
yeah, so
fine.
it was just um it was good to see. It's a good reminder that they're not grown up. They don't have it together.
Yeah,
I'm
exactly.
hoping this was a Friday because everybody was off work the fucking next day. So
Right.
not
I
that
do
I think
I
they ever fucking work, but
I do love the scene with just Ted and Carl, and Ted is just vehemently like, I need to see some penguins like right
do you
now.
think I could get in the zoo? It reminded me of oh man, this is gonna be a blast from the past. I'm using full names too. Billy Osborne because he loved penguins,
Oh my
loved
God.
them.
Yes.
So, but yeah, I also think everybody can relate to having that conversation with a bartender. Like, you know what I'm thinking? I think it'd be a good idea to drive home and like, no, give me your keys. Let me. Carl reminded me of Missy. Like, nope, give me your arm.
Yeah.
Let me
Yeah.
write down my name.
I could totally see that. I could totally see that.
That's what it reminded me of. Like, they are your bartender, but you've also become friends with them, so they are
Hmm.
concerned about your well-being. And he had no
Exactly.
intentions of. They weren't close enough for him to tuck him in like Lily and Marshall and Barney.
Right.
But he was close enough to say, if you end up in a ditch somewhere, I'm willing to take the phone call for you.
And I think it's like it's like the first it's like the start of them getting to a point where they could be close enough to have Carl walk him back
Yes,
upstairs and tuck him in because we do see Carl's relationship with the gang flourish over the next
yes.
few seasons.
And we see, it's, I mean, we always see them at the bar. They're always at McLaren. I don't think there's been one episode so far where they haven't been at McLaren's at some point.
Not so
But,
far. I mean, they
but,
will venture out
yeah.
eventually, but
But
like,
that's also when they grow up. At
yeah,
27, we were still at the bars.
yeah,
Um, but I think when you go somewhere enough, you get that relationship as long as you're not an asshole with your bartenders.
hmm,
They
yeah.
actually begin to care about you.
Oh, most
And
definitely.
most of the time, you're not rambling on about penguins. You're there to have a few drinks and talk to them.
Yeah. Yeah.
which was most of the time was us. Like I said, we always brought people in. We always,
I mean, we walked into boards and like the whole cliche, like,
yeah,
hey, because like
they're already
everybody,
making our drinks. They're,
yeah, everybody knew.
definitely. So yeah, the first episode sucked. This episode, I'm giving five French horns. This is my favorite, one of my very favorite How I Met Your Mother episodes.
I'd give it a four just because like
Oh, I know. I give it four too. I changed my mind.
it was great and it's an excellent standalone episode.
I give it
But
a
it
four because we never found out where the pineapple came from.
facts, facts.
And she also, by the way, Trudy also has no idea where the pineapple came from. No clue.
Yeah, so like here's my theory. At the end of the night, Ted really wants to break in somewhere. He wants to break into the zoo and go see the penguins. He gets on the phone and everybody thinks he's going to call Robin, but he calls Trudy.
Wait a
I
second.
think,
Do
hmm,
you not know where the pineapple came from?
no,
Oh my God, you don't know? All right, go on,
no.
finish your theory. I know where it came
I,
from. There's a scene. It's a cut. It's cut out of where it came from.
okay. Well, I'll give you my theory, even
Yeah,
though it's probably wrong.
let me hear your
I,
theory.
I think Ted, since he wanted to break in somewhere, I think he broke into the bodega next to the bar and stole a pineapple.
Okay, so the cut scene that comes in episodes later is we're with the captain. And the captain talks about how he has some kind of how he had a gun or something because years ago somebody stole a pineapple from his house that hid he out because it means welcome. It's a welcoming sign. And Ted was the one that stole the pineapple from the captain.
How did he get all the way to the captain's
I
house?
have no clue. I have no, but
Because the captain doesn't live near.
it is a deleted scene from later in How I Met Your Mother.
What? Now
Yep.
I'm gonna have to go back
Yep.
into like season 6 and search for
I
this.
was wondering why when we were talking, you were like, I just wish I knew where the pineapple came from. And I thought we were just like playing the, we're doing the podcast. So,
I've never pieced that together
yep, that's
before.
where the pineapple came from. And I actually didn't think it was from this episode. I actually forgot the pineapple was in this episode. I thought it was in the episode where he got the tattoo because
So did
that would
I.
make more sense.
So did I.
Yeah. So,
Because in the episode where he gets the tattoo, they're at that rich person's house in the hot
yes.
tub.
So
That would
maybe,
make so much more
did
sense.
we see Robin's date?
No.
Was Robin's date the captain? Is that what it was supposed to be?
That would be wild.
Oh my God. And I think she says when they go to the gala that she recognizes him from somewhere. And then we just move on.
That would be fucking
I
crazy.
think she
Can you
does.
imagine? Can you imagine?
I think
No,
she,
no, wait a minute. No, because in the next couple of episodes, we get the New Year's episode where
oh yeah,
they
with the
show
old
the
man.
where they show the billionaire, and I
Yeah.
think his name's like Derek or something.
Yeah. He's actually not old, but
But that would be crazy if her date was the captain.
yeah. Maybe it's like the captain's brother or something, and Ted tried to follow. Or Ted just was looking for fancy houses, thinking Robin would be there. And
Oh,
just,
that's
you
a good
know.
point. That's a solid perspective. Yeah.
But yeah, so all in all, this was definitely a two-parter. I think these will probably happen more often as we keep going because there are some episodes that are just filler to get us to the next point.
Hmm.
We had to meet the Ericksons. There's no way around it. Um,
There's also a lot of episodes upcoming that are good side by side. Like
yeah,
when we get to the end of season 2 and there's 2 episodes for Lily and Marshall's wedding. I think
yes,
that one deserves a double feature for
yes,
sure.
yes, yes. Um, but this one was more of just I want to talk about the pineapple episode because that's great.
It
Um,
really is. It brought me back to my youth. It made
yeah,
me
I
feel
felt
young
good about it
again
too. I
for
was
like
like, man, I
25
remember
minutes.
these nights wandering up to J12, not knowing what happened. uh, People saying, "Hey, if Grant doesn't leave when we leave, make sure he gets home." Or
Oh my God, that was like my famous line. I would walk up to anyone in the bar and be like, "Hey, I'm out. I have to get Tim home.
I
Make
like
sure
when
he
you'd
gets
come.
home."
Yeah, I like when you'd come from work and you'd be like, "Wow, I'm shocked you two are still here.
Yeah, for real.
I'm
Especially
shocked
on nights
could you
where
drop us off and then go to work and we'd
especially
still
on
be
nights
at
where
the
I'd
bar."
close down. Yeah, I'd show back up at the bar at like 10 o'clock at night.
Oh, what's
Like,
funny is back then we were not nearly as wasted as we got as we were older. Your body just can't handle it.
I mean, also, you guys were smarter when you were younger, which is so weird to say out
Yeah,
loud, but y'all actually took the time to eat
hmm
when you were younger.
that is true.
There was always wings.
Um, yeah, man, this was just yeah, I agree with you. It took me back to um, that feeling in the morning when you wake up and you know nothing bad happened, but you know enough happened you don't remember
Yep.
and I like they did it so good because I like Ted was like, and kids, I took that fifth shot and then they just went to him waking up in bed.
Yep. Everything went black and he
Yep.
just wakes up the next morning.
And then I love how excited Marshall and Lily are. Like, oh, what happened? Like, Marshall's like, I gotta get some popcorn. It's
Yes.
probably like 8 a.m. in the morning and he's popping popcorn.
He actually does go make popcorn.
Oh yeah, that's so good.
So
Yeah,
good.
these episodes were real good.
So good.
The Lusty Leopard will come into play a lot.
Oh yeah.
And I won't share all my strip club stories now, but I have a few good ones. I
Yeah.
am not vomit free since '91. In fact, there's probably a good 3 years of my drinking. I could not drink without vomiting the next day.
So true. So
Um,
true.
I
You'd
did,
wake up,
however,
you'd vomit, and then we'd walk to the meat market for wine
yeah,
Sundays.
wine tasting. Okay, I'll share one story. So I was at this gentleman's club called Mixers, and I was drinking. I don't know, all day, maybe I don't freaking know. And I got a dance, and I started to feel sick. So I was with Sarah, and we're like, my friend Sarah, and we're like, walk out. Wow. She's like, go leave. Like, I'm like, I think I'm gonna. I just start projectile vomiting, but I just kept walking
Oh my God.
out, and like it was splashing up and hitting her.
Oh
But
my
like
God.
I just kept walking because I'm like, I can't just. It's gonna be embarrassing if I just stop and puke. So
Right.
God knows how long that vomit sat there because strip clubs are dark.
Oh my
But
God.
she's like, it's in
Somebody
my
probably
purse, it's on my
slipped.
legs.
Somebody probably slipped in it.
Right.
At least you didn't throw up on the stripper.
Yeah, that is true. There
That
were
would be
some there I
bad.
may have. It's not. There were a few there that were, um, not trying to.
Also, the smell of mixers alone would have made me want to throw up.
Yeah, Mixers. For those that don't know that are listening elsewhere, is right next to a Subway in my city. So when people say, "Oh, that strip club smelled like tuna fish," this strip club literally, quite literally, smells like tuna fish. Flip that.
So good. So
Um,
good.
Yeah, so that's just one of our various stories. The Amish thing is funny too. That Tim had that whole story about that girl being Amish. It's hilarious.
So good. So good.
Hilarious. Yeah, we ended that night in a bathroom stall and we weren't doing drugs. Um,
It's funny how we go from like doing drug or doing, well, you doing women in a bathroom stall to
yeah,
doing drugs in a
to,
bathroom stall.
to doing drugs in the bathroom stall. Well, there were women involved with the drugs, but that's a story for another time.
We love it. Yeah, we got to leave them on our toes.
Yeah. So yeah, this was very good. It was definitely a feel good. It went from a not so feel good episode to a very feel
To a
good
super
episode.
feel good. Yeah.
Yeah, and again,
We had to bring the vibe back
the
up.
episode wasn't bad, the Thanksgiving episode. It just had to get us to the next step. We need to meet
Yeah.
all these people and all these things
Yeah.
to get to the next step.
I mean, we're only 10 episodes into
Yeah.
season one. We have a lot of characters to meet. We have a
Yeah, we're
lot of
talking, these are
backstory to
back in the
show.
day when we got like 20 some episodes each season. They don't do that anymore.
No,
Craig
no.
Thomas was talking about that in the podcast, how it's unheard of to do that many episodes anymore.
Yeah, I
I
mean,
just watched a
most,
series on Netflix that was 5 episodes.
yeah, the rehearsal on HBO Max, which, by the way, go watch.
Yeah, I gotta watch that. If you haven't watched Shrinking, watch that too. If you like, oh geez, what's his name? Marshall's character,
Jason Segel.
Jason Segel. Thank you. Brain fart.
Yeah, if you
Um,
love How I Met Your Mother and you love
yeah,
Jason Segel, go check out Shrinking. I laughed,
Shrinking.
I cried.
It's very, very much a How I Met Your Mother feel to the whole
I rem
show.
I remember telling you I have not felt
Yes.
so much for a show since How I Met Your Mother with watching Shrinking.
Yeah, it very much makes you care about the characters,
It was so
which is
cathartic.
so hard to do. And I'm watching This Is Us. I'm almost finished, and that's another one where like, man, I'm on the last season, and I'm like, and I've watched it all once, but I'm like heartbreaking again for losing. I'm gonna lose these. They might go on and have great lives. I'm
Mm.
losing these characters.
Yep. Yep.
So that's why this is fun to go back and watch How I Met Your Mother. It's far more lethargic, what's the word?
Cathartic?
Lethargic. Yeah, than I thought it
Cathar
would be.
cathartic. Not
Catheth.
not clethartic.
I
Cath
got Auschwitz. It's fine. Um,
cathartic. Cathartic. Say it with me.
lethargic.
Cathartic.
Thar. Tick.
Cathartic.
Cathartic.
Yes, there's no
Um,
L.
I also feel like we need to take this time. And last week we made a lot of Klingon jokes um, to our friend Nicole, and I would like to
We
take
love
this
you,
time.
Nicole.
I'm not here to apologize because that would be fucking stupid. It was hilarious. But I am here as knowing that now you have restarted How I Met Your Mother to invite you to come on the podcast and talk to us about an episode in season one here that you enjoyed.
Yeah.
And feel free if anybody else would like to chime in on these episodes. Let us know. We can get you on the Zoom call. We can talk to you about it. Um, we can go through it
Shoot
just
Grant
like
an
we're doing.
email. We
Yeah, shoot
can
me an
like
email.
talk through
Shoot
comments.
me an email if you want to talk about How I Met Your Mother, or if you want to boink me, grantpaul013 at gmail.com. Clip it, yes. Um, and yeah, I just this was a real feel good episode.
Agreed.
Um,
Agreed.
I will say if you're worried about holiday episodes going forward, don't be.
Don't
Because
be.
they get so much. There's not one holiday episode, I think, besides this one that's bad.
This is the
So,
only holiday episode they flop.
yeah, they quickly realize, I think, that the holidays for these people are a big thing.
Yep.
Um, and Robin being Canadian is going to really be fantastic.
Yeah.
I learned through Robin's interview with Josh Radnor and Craig Thomas that the Canadian jokes, they wanted to write her character being Canadian because Colby Smulders is. And there was a Canadian writer on the team who always got made fun of for being Canadian. So that's like where the
Yep.
jokes came from.
Yeah.
And a lot of time Robin didn't know the jokes were coming. So, or Kobe, I should say, whatever. Didn't know they were coming.
Such a good podcast too with
Yeah.
Colby. I loved the
Yeah, I hope they
perspectives he
bring the
brought.
other cast members on.
They need
I
to.
do like how they're all still so close too, and they're very the show's over, but they still realize that's such a big history for all of them
Oh,
in
most
their
definitely.
careers. I
Most
mean, at the
definitely.
time, I think the only real, well, not really, because Neil Patrick Harris, but other than him, Lily, Allison Hannigan is the only one that was really in anything notable
Yeah.
besides Neil Patrick Harris was a kid actor, so
And
this
he
is
did a lot of Broadway.
yeah, a lot of Broadway. This was kind of his first funnier type sitcom deal.
Yeah, agreed.
And the fact that he is a homosexual man and plays a very heterosexual man is
Yeah,
fucking fabulous.
it's so good.
I will never forget when I found out that Neil Patrick Harris was homosexual. I was like, wow, that makes the character so much better. Like,
Yeah, he's
it's
really
so much
dedicated to the
better.
role.
And he's
So
so
dedicated.
like in real life, he's so opposite. Like, I really am so against everything, Mark.
Yep.
I'm so against it.
So good. So
So,
good.
all right, well, we'll wrap it up there. We'll be back next week. We are going to start doing 2 episodes. We will figure that schedule out. It'll probably be a Wednesday, Saturday type deal. Um, and then that's all I got. I don't got anything else, I don't think.
I don't have
Like,
anything else to say.
subscribe, comment, share with your friends. Um, Nicole, please come on the podcast so we can talk Klingon. I mean, How I Met Your Mother. Um, yeah, she did comment on our video we posted,
Yeah,
and she said she is not that much of a nerd. Star Wars is greater than Star Trek.
I can attest to that.
So I have to agree, much like How I Met Your Mother is better than Friends.
Preach.
Um, and we'll be back next week. So until then,
Up
up
top.
top. Ow, I
Bye.
think I pulled something.
Oh, God.
Oh my God.
Not you
Hold on,
too.
my elbow.